Okay, so this is our Thursday night class, and we're talking about money, 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 money. Everybody wants more money. Um, and I gotta say, I am so grateful for you listening in. I am so grateful for you here to grow, to get better, to find some light at the end of the tunnel. And if you are live, thank you for showing up. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And if somebody sent you this video, thank them because that shows that they care about you. That shows that they want something better for you. That shows that they want to help you manage your money, get more money, keep more money. And it's hard. It can be hard when you look at your debt. Most people are in debt. There are statistics that say 98% of the population will die by the age of 65. They'll be dead or they'll be dead broke, relying on family, friends, the government. There was somebody that I was told when they had the chance to learn how to pay off debt said, why pay off debt? I'm going to die with it. That's just what people do. And I think you, Grace, was the one that told me that story, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it can seem overwhelming. So Grace, I'm so glad you're here. And right before we hit record, you were sharing how at some point you were just overwhelmed with debt. And before these classes, you were like, did not think that you would be paying off debt and paying it off to the level that you're paying it off now. I believe you just mentioned since January, you paid off 37% of your farm loan?
Yes, we did. We paid off 37% of our line of credit is what we did. And then our farm loan, we contacted Farm Credit to ask how much additional we could put on our loan. And they told us the dollar amount. So we did that between now and since January. So the amount was $6,036, and we were able to put $6,000 since January. So this weekend I'm writing a check for the last $36. I think that's such a really good thing to do, to find out how much extra you can pay on any loans you have without a penalty, just to pay down your principal a little bit faster. So that was one thing we did. And then the 37% was on our line of credit that's against our house. Yeah.
Did you think that at this point where we are in the calendar that you would have paid off as much debt as you had? I mean, I think we've been together about a year. Did you think you would get this far?
Not at all. When we started, we had almost $450,000 in debt, and we were able to pay off $117,000 in the first 20 months. So partway through that is when I met you, and it's really hard to keep momentum going. And then it's also tempting for me to use my Amazon account. So I am so thankful for this group, because Larissa, you give us tips, you give us strategies, you give me ideas. But more than that, the people also in the group are telling their sprouts, they're giving ideas, they're encouraging each other. I just love this group. And so with this group, I feel like it's continued momentum, but I also feel like it's given me hope that I don't say if we get out of debt or it's not possible. I say this is totally possible. We will be out of debt in 2 more years. And that is awesome. We're so excited.
I just got goosebumps. 2 more years.
2 more years. Yeah, I'm so thankful for you and for this group. I'm so thankful you started it.
Well, Grace, thank you. And thank you for being one of the angels that helped me start this group. And you make excellent points. Anybody can get the information to pay off debt. It's not rocket science. You spend less than you earn. And if you've gotten into debt, you spend even less than you earn so you can pay off the debt. It's not rocket science, but you make a great point. You lose momentum, you get frustrated, you can start drowning in it, thinking it's not possible. But when you're in community, when you're sharing your sprouts, when you're showing up, when you're listening and encouraging others, that creates the dynamic. Really, this doesn't really happen without community and spurring one another on. So those are excellent points. That's why people are having success. They're getting good information, growing their skills, and staying plugged in. And you mentioned it, and that's a great time to what we're going to talk about is mindset. You don't think you can, but then when you see other people doing stuff, you're like, maybe I can. Let me try. Oh, well, here's a little sprout. I think I can. Have you ever read The Little Engine That Could?
Yes, absolutely.
It's totally like that. It's totally like that. I love that book. So today for you, Grace, for anybody watching the replay, I want you to take a moment and think about money. We all think about money. I want more of it. But what does money really mean to you? And just take a few moments to think, what does it mean to you? And what is it? What is money? We all want money. I mean, just some little pieces of metal. Like you want some pieces of metal? No,
It's a bartering tool for sure.
definitely. It's a medium of exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And in our modern world, money is not really this anymore. It's a bunch of numbers on a computer.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a few definitions of money. Money is something generally accepted as a medium of exchange, a measure of value, or a means of payment. Money is also considered as wealth. It's a commodity. Now, when we talk about money, we don't really care whether it's in metal coins or whether it's in linen and paper bills that have pretty colored ink on it. What does money actually mean to us or to you? What's the significance of it? What does it mean?
Money used to overwhelm me because I didn't know how to get out of debt, and I didn't know how to invest it. Now, when I think about money and I see the progress that we've made in paying off debt, I see it as an avenue to freedom, actually, and a way to grow wealth so that we can have freedom now, later. Mm-hmm. There's something you said once, tell your money where to go, or it will just, how did you phrase that? Tell your money where to go, or it will just disappear. I don't know.
I definitely am paraphrasing from Hans Johnson. If you don't tell your money where to go, somebody else will.
Right.
And now I can't even remember. Now I have my mind blocked, but money is a great servant, but it makes a poor master. And when you talk about overwhelm, sounds like with you, with me, with many people, money was a source of pain. Money was a source of not being in control. Money was a source of me feeling inadequate. Money was a source of fights and arguments and quarrels and frustration and disappointment. Um,
And sometimes confusion and fear. I don't feel confusion about it anymore.
that's, that's awesome. But at what one time we did, both of
Right.
us. And
Yeah.
that's not a good feeling. So think about, what does your mind do? And we're looking back in the past, because there are people that right now, watching right now, are where we used to be. So think about, what do people do when there is something that causes pain and frustration and overwhelm, um, all these negative feelings? If there is an object that does that, what are you going to want to do with that object or situation?
Hide from it, get far away from it,
Right.
ignore.
So if something causes us pain, we don't want it. That our brain wants to bring us to a place of comfort. So if there is something that is causing discomfort, we're going to reject it. So does it make sense that when you're in debt and when you're having those issues, it's kind of a downward spiral? You are not increasing your wealth. You are telling money that you hate it. So how is money going to flow to you and give you abundance if you have those feelings about money?
Right. Yeah.
So, and as you said, when you can control it and be the master of it, you start seeing your own freedom. And when we change our mindset to something that feels good to our brain, there's going to be freedom. Okay, there's not going to be quarrels in the relationship. There's going to be some peace because we understand money. That is a way that you will draw money to you, because you're going to start loving money, receiving money, accepting money. So it's huge. It's really a mindset thing. And I have a whole entire, I have like a whole workshop on just talking about, I think it's 1 Timothy 6:10, the love of money is the root of all evil. We've heard that. That's another way that people reject money. Oh my gosh, I can't love money. It's the root of all evil, and I want to be spiritual. So that's not what the scripture says. It was written in a different language. It wasn't written in English. That's a very poor translation that we don't even understand. It was written in Hebrew, translated to Greek, translated to Latin, and then the King James Version, and then all of our English versions. Okay, so we can get deep into the meaning of that. But it's not what we think of it. And I can break down all of the Latin. The word love in that context is comes from the Latin root of Cupid, of a desire, of like a lust. Okay.
Mhm.
And as you keep translating it back to the Hebrew, it's don't set it up as a god.
Mhm.
So you can love money. Let's start loving money. Don't make it your god.
Mhm.
Okay, so I can get into that whole thing. We can go through all the languages. I'm not going to do it tonight. Money is not going to be our god. We don't want it to be our master over us. Um, and again, when it says it's the root of all evil, the word there is wicked, and wicked comes from the root of a candle wick,
Oh, wow.
and a candle wick is twisted. So it literally means it's twisted, like twisting scripture. So if you make money your God, you're going to start twisting a belief system. I mean, does that have you ever heard anything like that before?
No, I haven't, but it makes total sense. And the last thing we want is something twisting around our root system, because then that just causes insecurity
Right, right.
in our
And
belief.
we don't want to twist the truth either.
Right,
We want the
exactly.
whole truth.
Mhm.
So it's okay to love money. Don't make it your God. Don't make it a lustful thing. And by loving money, I'm talking about taking good care of it, talking about being responsible. If you have a dog, do you have any pets, Grace?
No, not anymore. We had a dog.
All right. So if you had a dog, you loved your dog, right?
We did.
Okay. Who doesn't love their dogs? Dogs are awesome. Would you let your dog do anything it wanted whenever it wanted? Would you let it jump up on tables and jump up and eat people's food? And
No, never.
why not?
It's just not acceptable. Gross.
But you loved your dog.
Right.
Why would
But
you let your dog do whatever it wants?
I love my dog better when he is an obedient dog.
So part of loving your dog is being the master of your dog and
Right,
showing your dog what to do and
right.
having expectation and training. You
Yes.
train your dog into obedience. Then you love your dog.
Yes.
Can we do that with money?
I
Can we
think we should. Yeah.
train our money into obedience? Um, and again, it starts with mindset. So I'm going to give you a few words for money that people use, like slang: bread, dough, roll, loot, moolah, cabbage, kale, scratch, means, wad, greenback, buck, shoestring, peanuts, gold, lucre, um, bringing home the bacon, money talks, cash cow, gravy train, fork it over, cash, coin, capital, um, lots of words for money that we use. Do you notice anything about these words that strike you?
Some of them seem negative. Cash cow. Um, yeah.
Some do seem negative. Some seem um, not very abundant. Peanuts. I don't want to call my money peanuts. I want to call it abundance. Another thing I notice is a lot of it is related to food. Bring home the bacon, the cabbage, the bread, dough.
The dough. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so if you are going to have a positive influence in your mind, choose to speak about money in a positive way. Oh my gosh, this is what happened today. All right. Women have such a great role in the household. We have such a great responsibility. And my husband, like yours, works really hard. And in order to be a good provider and a good family man, my husband in his heart, the way he, the way he's designed, he wants to put food on the table. He wants to take care of the family. One of the ways that he does that is if overtime is available, he'll try and take overtime to make more money, which is fine. Uh, but it's not always how much you make, it's what you keep.
Mhm.
So today there was no overtime. He ended up helping my son put a fan in the truck. Like something broke, a part broke. He fixed it. He showed his son how to fix it. And he got a discount on the part because he knew somebody. And if he would have taken it to the dealership, it would have cost, a good $450 more.
Mhm.
So he saved 450 and he had time with his son. And Alex told me, my son, he's like, that's the best time I've had with dad in a long time. He had a great time.
Wow.
So when he was done, he came into the bathroom to, wash up because he was sweaty. And asked him, how did it go? I cannot remember the exact question, but he said, no money. Like, what? No, because he didn't have the overtime. It's like, no money.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did you say? He said, no money. I'm like, okay, stop right there. You can't say that. And I did not go into everything that I just shared with you because I know he knows. But if we don't have people watching our back, life and death are in the power of the tongue. You can't speak death over our finances because that's a seed. If you plant corn, you're not going to get petunias. you know,
And and it feels so much better to say, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to pay this all off than to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in debt forever.
right,
It just
right.
it's just has such an impact on us, what we say.
It
Yeah.
does. It does. And it's seeds, just like your husband is a farmer.
Mhm.
He knows what's going to come up out of the ground based on the seed that he planted. So when you plant those seeds, you're going to get something. Plant seeds for what you want, not what you don't want. So I said, honey, I had him go through it and I said, you just in an hour, you you helped our household keep $450.
Mhm.
If you had to work and we had to go to the car dealership, your overtime might not have covered that. And you still missed out on what is priceless, and that's spending time with your son and sharing information and teaching him diligence. And that is a seed that is going to have a legacy for generations and generations. So he needed to be reminded in a loving way, but we all do. We all need to be reminded. Speak what you want. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy. It accepts what you tell it. All right, so here's another thing. If you found a penny on the ground, would you pick it up?
I would.
Okay. I would too. Some
Yeah.
people wouldn't. It's just a penny. Well, you ask God for more money and there it is right on the ground. And you just walk over it, you're rejecting a gift. If you're faithful with the little, God will give you much more. Once I found $15 in the parking lot. 15 bucks.
Wow.
My husband found 13. Okay, this was like a decade apart. And of course, the first reaction is it's in the middle of a parking lot. There's no cars. Like, who could have dropped this? We're looking because we want to be honorable and return things to their owners, but couldn't find anybody. I was like, 15 bucks. But every time I find a penny, I pick it up and I say, thank you, God, for giving me more money. I accept your abundance. Sometimes I'll find a nickel, a dime, a quarter, but I always pick it up because I'm faithful with a little and I'm training my mind. I'm training my mind to be grateful for everything. So, I mean, that's key. Another interesting thing about the word money in the Bible comes from the Hebrew kesef or hakasef, and it really means silver. Just means silver. It doesn't mean gold. It means silver. Just a little interesting tidbit. The word shekel, which over in Israel, they name their money shekels. And the Canadian, you guys call it dollars, right?
We do. Yeah.
Okay, we call it dollars here. In Israel, they call it shekels. But it's interesting, the word shekel means to weigh. So they were weighing silver to weigh. And I think that that's really interesting. It means to measure the value of or to weigh. And I think that's really key for all of our decisions. We're weighing the consequences, we're weighing the results of all of our money decisions. And we don't want to leave the weighing up to the bankers. They've got their thumb on the scale. The credit card companies have like their whole palm on the scale, the interest rates they charge. But take time to weigh out the value of money and its purpose in your life. I believe God wants us to have abundance, but He's not going to give you more than you can handle. So handle what you have, handle it well, and you'll be given more. And I'm sure I've said this, but lottery winners, they lose it all within 5 to 7 years because they haven't changed their mindset about money. They haven't changed their habits about money. And I wouldn't mind winning some money because I'm going to treat it right. But I'm not going to pay money to gamble in the lottery. Some people call it a stupid tax. My husband used to say, $1 in a dream, baby, $1 in a dream. And I'm like, you take your dollar and every time you spend it in the lottery, I'm going to invest it and we're going to see who has more money by the time we retire. So, and the funny thing is I was like, if I'm going to do something, and I've bought raffle tickets because I know it goes for a good cause, it's like a donation, but don't be fooled. There's no get rich quick schemes. Wealth is made little by little, just like our wrinkles, little by little. But that's it. Speak life over your money. It's okay to love money like you love your dog. Don't make it your God. Make it your dog. Make money your dog.
Teach it to be obedient and go where you want it to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my little thing. That's my little spiel today. Um, and again, we have obedience, but we also have fun. And I know you have a fun budget. Um, Getting out of debt is work, but it doesn't have to be painful.
We do have a fun budget, and we just went to Vegas and we
Woo!
didn't gamble at all. Well,
What
we were
did you
in,
do? What did you do? What was the most fun thing you did in Vegas?
we saw a couple of Cirque du Soleil shows, and we saw the Golden Knights play hockey against Tampa Bay. And most of the time we played pickleball. We found somewhere to play free pickleball, and we went out in tours, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, Grace, you're on vacation and still you found a place to play free pickleball.
We did.
That's
We went from Vegas to Arizona and played free pickleball there. And then we went to California and played free pickleball there. We found free pickleball courts all over. Yeah.
very fun. Very
Yeah.
fun. So,
It was,
and no gambling your money. But if you wanted to gamble, you could use your fun budget for that if that was fun for you. If that was entertainment. But again, you're telling a specific amount what you want to do with it and what its job is.
right. Yeah.
So
I didn't want to gamble. I wanted to go on the tours and see Red Rock Canyon and Valley of, I forget, Valley of Fire. That's what it was called. And yeah.
that's awesome. So there we have it. It's really, if you're watching the replay, you have all the tools to get out of debt. What, 2 more years, Grace? You're going to be out of debt?
Yeah, by the time Brad is 65, and that'll be in 2.5 years, but we should hit our goal in 2 years.
If you're faithful with a little, you'll be given much more. And what happens a lot is people actually get out of debt sooner than they plan. Sometimes things just work that way. So I believe you've been faithful, you've been encouraging, you've been sharing your sprouts, you've been helping others, you've been helping me.
You know, Brad wasn't really on board at first. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He wasn't really on board until I made his truck a priority to pay off, because that's important to him. And when the truck was paid off, then he was totally on board. So he was like, "What? You paid off the truck?" Yeah. So, you know, I guess just don't get discouraged if your spouse isn't on board, because we can still pay debt off even if they're not on board, for sure. I just felt like it was a way to honor him, to pay off something that he loved first. Yeah.
Grace, that's awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up, because you want to honor your spouse, you're married to them.
Mhm.
You cannot control another person's actions. You can't force your spouse to do something you want. And even if you could, that's not the right thing to do. But I have seen, not only you, there have been other women in the group that were honoring their spouse, doing their part, even if their husband wasn't on board. And then when their spouse has seen the results, like you, be like, oh my gosh, like that's got to feel so good. I don't have that extra car payment. And as the beautiful wife you are, you put his needs first. You paid off his truck first. And I just love the way that you have set the example, Grace. So.
I just love this group. I love all the advice you give. I love all the help you give. I love how available you are. I'm so thankful for you, Larissa.
I love you. I love you too. And again, if you, Grace, have questions, you can put them in the group. And if you're watching the replay, put a question in the group. message me with the question. Message Grace with the question, because she is amazing and she's doing it. And a world of wisdom right there. So thank you again. Thank you for this evening. It is always great to chat with you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you